Reporting from Arkham Asylum, this is Mr. Rogues. In this video we spotlight forgotten superhero, Straw Man. Throughout the decades, countless brave heroes have risen up to kick some supervillain butt in the pages of comic books. Some of these superheroes have gone on to stand among the most iconic characters in fiction, while others have completely vanished into obscurity. In this, the first episode of Forgotten Superheroes, we spotlight Straw Man. Straw Man, aka the Scarecrow, made his first appearance in Dead of Night 11, published in 1975. The story, titled Enter the Scarecrow, was written by Scott Edelman and penciled by Rico. In it, we're introduced to a bizarre painting of a scarecrow, a painting of seemingly supernatural qualities. It's apparently highly sought after too, as our eerie tale begins with a cult, the cult of Kalumai, attempting to steal the painting from a museum. These fiendish thieves are however stopped by the very painting itself, as the Scarecrow motif leaps out of the canvas and kills them all. Later, the painting goes up for auction, where the cult tries to acquire it yet again through legal means. They are however outbid by artist and renowned art collector Jess Duncan, although this was only possible due to Jess's brother Dave's dirty tricks. Jess has for some reason wanted this painting for years, and now he finally has it. Shortly afterwards, while he's admiring it in his loft, in the company of Dave and his gal Harmony, the other bidder from the auction returns, and he's got his Kalumai cronies in tow. They proceed to clobber both Jess and Dave, and then takes up with the painting and Harmony. In their unholy sanctum, these crazed fanatics plan to use the hapless Harmony as a sacrifice for their lord Kalumai. We also discover the mystery behind the painting. Apparently it's a portal to another dimension, the realm of Kalumai. This demon is the real motif of the painting, and the image of the Scarecrow has only been placed on top of it. The Scarecrow serves as a guardian, preventing Kalumai from escaping his plane and entering ours. Luckily for Harmony, Scarecrow is able to once again leave his painted form and materialize among us, rescuing her from the mad cult. He also kills all cult members in grisly fashions. This Scarecrow may be on the side of good, but he's not a goody-good. So here we had a very peculiar superhero, or perhaps anti-hero is better suited. A violent killer scarecrow with supernatural powers living inside a painting. Being made of hay, he was basically immune to any attacks, including gunfire. His only weakness was, naturally, fire. He also had a vast array of various powers, like inflicting fear in humans with a mere gaze, and control over the elements, like plants and the weather. The Scarecrow also couldn't speak, and only laughed eerily. I guess he was almost a bit reminiscent of the Shadow, a killer with a scary echoing laugh. Anyway, after this first story, Dead of Night was abruptly cancelled, and the Scarecrow was left without a home. The plan was to give the character his own comic, but for some reason that never came to pass. It seemed as if the character was only destined for one single appearance. But then, a second Scarecrow tale suddenly showed up in issue 26 of Marvel Spotlight in 1976. This tale, titled Death Waters of the River Styx, was once again written by Straw Hat's creator, Scott Edelman, but penciled by Ruben Yandok. The cult having failed to release Kalumai from his painting prison, the demon decides to take matters into his own hands. He somehow sends out monstrous minions from his dimension into our world, tasking them with the mission to fetch the horn of Kalumai, which can apparently be used to release him. Of course, the demon was once again foiled by his nemesis and roommate, the Scarecrow. Harmony, Jess, and Dave all appeared in this story as well, and it was clear they were being set up as the supporting cast of the Scarecrow's grim adventures. 6 months later, old Straw Hat returned for a team-up with the Fantastic Force, The Thing, in Marvel 2-in-1, number 18. This story, titled Dark Dark Demon Knight, was written by Bill Mantlo, while Edelman merely co-plotted it. Ron Wilson supplied the pencils. In this one, The Thing is invited by Jess Duncan to one of his galleries, but not to gawk at paintings. Jess and company wants The Thing's help in this whole Scarecrow and Kalumai affair. At first, Ben Grimm doesn't believe a word of their absurd tale, but he soon learns not to doubt, as it begins to unfold before his very eyes. Kalumai, ever so eager to escape his prison, takes control of one of the guests, transforming him into a demonic fire creature. He then commands this being into attacking the Scarecrow, who conveniently show up too. Together, Scarecrow and the Thing defeat the fire creature, but the story ends with the fabled painting burning up. It seemed like the end for both Scarecrow and his arch-foe, Kalumai. And it kinda was. This was the last of the original Scarecrow stories, and the character completely disappeared into obscurity. He could have remained forgotten forever, but then he returned out of the blue in issue 31 of Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme in 1991. This appearance took place in a backup tale featuring the Fear Lords. Scarecrow has been invited to join their ranks, as apparently they assume he's a villain, which really, can you blame them? Of course he's not a villain, and quickly antagonized them, warning them to stay away from Earth. Naturally, the Fair Lords didn't listen, and a few issues later in Sorcerer Supreme, they put their plan into motion to drown the world in fear. Scarecrow showed up once again as well, staying true to his word, helping Doctor Strange fight this collection of frightful rogues. By now, however, Scarecrow had decided to change his name to Strawman, as he didn't want to be confused with the villain Scarecrow, alias Ebenezer Lawton. Yeah, he actually says that in a comic. And yes, he's also learned how to talk apparently. This new and improved Strawman also took on the human guise of Skira Corvus, owner of Horror TV, a horror-themed TV channel. This was only part of his ploy to fight the Fair Lords, however, as with the gruesome programming of Horror TV, Strawman wished to desensitize people to fear. Yeah, a pretty weird plan. Following this arc, Strawman disappeared once again, and this time he never did return, except for a couple of small cameos in Journey into Mystery in 2012. There, he was for some reason depicted as a member of the Fear Lords. Who cares, it was a pointless waste of the character. As for other media, Strawman has of course not showed up in anything. Nope, you're not seeing things. I'm actually making videos about superheroes now too. Ever since I went from Gotham Rogues to Mr. Rogues, the channel has basically been about obscure comic book characters. So I figured, why the hell should I only restrict myself to villains? Sure, I like villains more and they will appear the most, but it feels like a missed opportunity to not also feature heroes. There are plenty of obscure superheroes out there after all. Like this guy, the Strawman, or the Scarecrow, whichever you want. I decided to start off with him because it's Spooktober. And what's more fitting for Halloween than a living killer Scarecrow? When I first discovered this character a while back, I assumed he was a villain. I mean, look at him. He's a sinister looking Scarecrow. How can that be a hero? Well, to my surprise, he is a hero. He's not really in line with guys like Batman or Spider-Man though. I'd say Strawman is more like the Shadow and the Punisher, as he shows no remorse over killing evildoers. He actually puts those two guys to shame, often using pretty gruesome ways to do his killing. Of course, I'm not complaining. Seeing a sinister Scarecrow command a tree to mangle a crazy cult leader into a pulp is just freaking awesome. This character is freaking awesome. That sounds a bit silly, but what else can I say? It's a supernatural Scarecrow living inside a painting fighting a cult of demon worshippers. Now there's a movie for you. What a unique and just absolutely awesome concept. I'm frankly shocked Scarecrow never became a bigger thing. He should have gotten his own comic back in the 70s. Is it Jonathan Crane's fault? Sure, Strawman himself blames it on Ebenezer, but come on. The real reason they changed his name is because of Johnny. He's an A-list villain, while Ebenezer is almost as obscure as Strawman himself. Batman's The Scarecrow may be in a different universe, published by a different company, but he's basically cornered the Scarecrow market in comics, just like Joker has cornered the clown market. I really love Crane, but come on, there should be room for more Scarecrows in comics, especially when they're so different from Johnny. The only real legitimate problem I see with Strawman is the whole Calumai plot. If keeping that demon imprisoned is his sole purpose, then that gets pretty tired quickly. He needed to do other stuff, fighting other completely unrelated villains. Although I guess he did eventually end up doing that much later, although very briefly. Another issue is perhaps that he has too many powers. There's also some small confusion over how he exits the painting. In the 70s stories, it was kinda implied that Scarecrow possessed Dave Duncan, Jess's brother, so he became the Scarecrow. But it's also made clear that Scarecrow can manifest itself in our world without any kind of host. It also seems as if these manifestations are mere avatars, and it doesn't matter if they are killed. And just how did the painting show up again after it was burned up in that last 70s story? Okay, so there are a few issues, but nothing that couldn't have been sorted out. This character is just too awesome to give up on. Of course, I highly doubt he'll ever become anything. It's obvious no one at Marvel besides Scott Edelman ever truly cared about Strawman. He even had to fight to get the damn thing published in the first place. What a shame. Although, if Strawman had been big, I couldn't have made this video. So, I guess it's not too bad. So there you have it. That is the story of forgotten superhero, the Strawman, aka the Scarecrow. A truly unique kind of hero. Anyway, as always, remember, Arkham Asylum awaits you in the next video.